search. Now, the library search is not the only place that you can look. You can also look in Google Scholar. So in Google Scholar, it will search way beyond MRU Library's collection. However, if you are set up properly in Google Scholar, you can see what is in our collection at MRU. So if you open Google Scholar, which is scholar.google.ca, you'll notice I'm signed up here at the top right into my MRU Gmail account. So that'll, again, anything that I find in Google Scholar that I save will be saved to my account. It may be worthwhile for you to go to the settings menu on the left. I call this the hamburger menu, and go to settings down below. Under settings, you can go to library links, and you can make sure that Mount Royal University is added to your search, and that will show you sources that come from Mount Royal University Library. So we're going to enable that. So let's do another simple search. Now, Google Scholar doesn't allow for the in-depth type of searching and filters that we have in the library's main search, but we do have a few options. I recommend keeping it simple. So we can do emoji. It's remembered my previous search here, so I could say language and evolution. Those are just, some 3 words that come out of my research question, and I'm going to hit search. Now, as we go through this list, certain titles you'll see will say full text at MRU Library, meaning Mount Royal's library will have access to it. Now, that doesn't mean that these other sources you don't have access to. It just means that this is specifically listed in our catalog. You can also find other sources, and then often they direct you right to the PDF. So this is a great resource. Google Scholar is quite special because often it'll find resources that you wouldn't have found otherwise. And you can also see who cited those resources. Before we do anything more, I just forgot, we want to make sure that we get sources since 2016, because that's what we're looking for. And I'm just going to comb through this list. In fact, I'm lucky that I think the top resource looks pretty interesting to me. So are emojis creating a new or old visual language for new generations? A socioeconomic study. So I can click on this. I'm going to open it in a new tab. Taking a second to load. It looks like an open access resource. So I could take a look at this academic article and see if it's helpful to me. Interestingly, if you look under the search results in Google Scholar, or if you search for items that you found through the library search in Google Scholar, often underneath you get a few options. So you can save the source. This is similar to the pinning system in the MRU library search. You can also see cited by. In this case, it says cited by 51. This means that Google Scholar has found 51 other sources that cite this article. So let's say that you wanted to see other resources related to this. This is called citation chaining, and this will show you sources that have cited the article you found since publication. So sometimes this is another really helpful way to find related material without having to conduct manual searches. And again, we see emoji and communicative action, the semiotic sequence and gestural actions of face-covered hand, an emoji-based metric. I could go on and on. Emoji and advertising. So we could comb through these sources and we can find out, we can look at them and, we're really looking to see if they actually answer our research question that we've chosen. Now, you don't have to use just academic sources for your assignment. You have to use at least one. I'd recommend at least 2. I'd also recommend doing a general Google search. We all know how to do Google searches. I'm assuming you folks know how to do that. So, we could say emoji evolution language, so the same search that we did in Google Scholar. And we could look at the articles that come from the Google search results. Sometimes it's really helpful. Oh, look, emoji, the complete history from Wired. That actually might be helpful to us as a background source as well. Sometimes if you want to find more recent sources from Google, a good place to go to is right to Google News. So that'll be an option, a search limiter at the top of Google. If you go to Google News, you will get a more recent list of articles about emoji, and this will really ensure that you're getting news sources since 2016. Again, make sure that you're looking for quality sources. There's some resources in the guide. I'm not doing a screencast of it, of how to evaluate your sources, but you want to make sure that these are quality sources and that they help you answer your question. As you do your searches, what you should really do is go back to your research documentation worksheet, and below if you go to section 3 under locate scholarly sources, though this could be news articles as well, you want to start documenting where you've actually searched. So in this case, I've said I've searched in Google Scholar, the library search, and let's say I've searched in Academic Search Complete as well, which is one of the databases we have access to at MRU. I have documented specifically the types of searches that I have done in those areas. I've also put in Google News and said that I've looked for emoji of some kind. So this is what you really want to do. You want to document your sources and your searches so it's easier to track them down later. Now, once you've done that, every time you find a source that you think might be useful, and I won't walk through this as an example, but you really want to ask yourself 3 questions once you find a useful source. What kind of source is it? Is it a scholarly source, peer-reviewed? Is it a website? Is it a blog? Is it a video, a magazine, etc.? I recommend putting the title of your source in here and the type of source right beside it. The second question, which is perhaps the most important, is why do you think this source will help you answer your inquiry or research question? Remember, research is all about question and answer, so the sources you find will not be relevant or useful if they don't help you answer your research question. So make a quick note about each source you find in here. Again, put the title of the source, and you could have a bullet point under it and say, how is this going to help me answer my research question? Lastly, every source is a background source if we treat it as such, meaning that, are there new keywords and concepts that you learned from the source that would help you conduct more searches? We did some background searching in the beginning, but ultimately we can always learn more search keywords, things like that. So keep a list of words down here that you learned from the sources that you found. So your step now is to try to conduct some of these searches using your keywords list in the library search and Google Scholar areas. Try to make a short list. I recommend making a short list of 15, 20 sources, and then you have lots to choose from when you're doing your research.